So we have already finished our first laws of thermodynamics and second laws as well. But in second law, we had a statement. There is something called the process happens. Initially, I have wrote a statement that process happens in the direction of increasing entropy. Although we have understood the second law, the process has to follow not only first law but also the second law. Unless and until it follows both the laws, the process will not happen, and that we have understood very closely. And we have deduced some devices based on second laws as well. And but we still have a not very clear-cut idea about what this entropy is all about in quantitative sense. And but we have formally put our definition as a process will happen in towards the increasing entropy. So in this chapter we will look closely about this term called entropy. Okay. In this particular chapter, entropy, we will start with introduction to entropy, increase of entropy principle we'll see. We'll also look upon the entropy changes of pure substances. We'll look upon some isentropic processes. It means isentropic processes are processes where entropy doesn't change. And obviously that is an ideal case. Property diagrams, we'll see some PS or TS diagrams based on our processes and cycles. We'll try to plot it on TS plot. We'll look upon the TDS relation. Also, we'll go into the entropy changes of ideal gases, liquids, and solids. Next, the chapter will follow isentropic efficiencies of steady flow devices such as your turbines, nozzles, and so. And lastly, the entropy balance and entropy transfer. In between, we'll also look into something called Clausius inequality. Okay, and which is the governing step towards understanding or formalizing the term called entropy. So this is an important thing we are going to discuss in this today's class. Firstly, let us define entropy in microscopic sense. The entropy can be viewed as a measure of molecular disorder or molecular randomness. This is how we can think of entropy as it. So if anybody asks what is entropy, the only thing that should come into your mind is randomness. It's kind of measure of randomness. So all the processes that happens, it goes from orderly state to disorder states. So all the processes actually should happen in this way. And you would never see that the things from disorder states comes to orderly states spontaneously. It doesn't happen. So it's the rule of nature, or it's a law of universe, that everything will, whatever the order you have, it will eventually go into disorder, and at last everything will be in disorder state. Okay, nothing, there is no potential as such in the universe, and everything goes towards equilibrium, and everything will be cool and calm. In some sense, like nothing will happen. So this is the way our universe actually governs, and in some sense entropy is following that. So let's take an example before moving into the actual definition. So the level of molecular disorder of a substance increases at it melts or evaporate. So when we talk about the solid, the molecular states that are there are kind of defined. It's kind of more ordered. When it melts, it's the molecular orientations or the interaction between two molecules. It the distances between two molecules become large, and you can say the entropy of the substance increases. Again, if it goes under the gaseous state, the randomness again increases much more fold. Okay, so it happens so that entropy of uh, conversion of from liquid to gases also leads to increase in entropy. This is how it is told. So in this particular course, since we are doing classical thermodynamics, and this particular example, what I have shown over here, is basically comes from statistical thermodynamics. So which states that this entropy definition was kind of loose definition, but actual definition comes from statistical thermodynamics. That is, the entropy of the system is related to the total number of possible microscopic states of that system, called thermodynamic probability by Boltzmann relation expressed as this. So the entropy is defined as something related to the thermodynamic probability P, which we will not actually talk about in this particular course, because we are not talking in terms of the statistical thermodynamics. We are actually looking more closely towards the classical thermodynamics, and we will actually in subsequent slides we will come to a formal definition of entropy, that is dq by T for internal reversible process, and this is how your entropy is defined, or your probably the change in entropy if you're going from 1 to 2. If it is cyclic, then okay. So in the formal definition would be something like this, but we'll take up this in subsequent slides. But as a preface to this subject, we should also know that it actually the definition or the behavior of the molecules that are views that comes actually that dictates from the molecular form or molecular disorderness, and we will see it as a macroscopic phenomena. Okay, it also we have seen similar thing in temperature and pressures as well. We haven't seen. So temperature is nothing but the microscopic thermal energy that the molecule exists, which microscopically it is thermal energy of the molecules, but macroscopically we measure it as a temperature. Whereas the pressure, again, there is the force exerted or the momentum exchange between the interaction between two molecules that collides each other, or onto some faces or on surface. These molecules actually exchanges their momentum, and because of this momentum exchange, microscopically you will feel it as a macroscopic phenomena, and we call it pressure. So this is how, so these properties, the substance is having similar property. Entropy is also dictated from microscopic property. Okay, that detects from microscopically, and we can see it in macroscopic form. So we will not actually go into the details of this formula, but just to have a feel, we are not going to ask. So in this particular course, we are not even going to ask this particular formula as well. So somebody asked some question. Okay. So so essentially this entropy is proportional to the number, the total number of microscopic states that are there. So microscopic states means, let's suppose your solid. Let's suppose you have a solid. Let me tell you. This is your solid. The solid. Let's suppose you have solid molecules are having orderly states, and they are structured, properly structured. Okay, so when you take time, so t is equal to 0 if you find your molecule in this cubical way, and t is equal to after 1 hour, you may see that this molecule may be doing some sort of equilibrium position. They might be disturbing from their equilibrium positions, but not far. Okay, so you at t is equal to some other state, you may see that, okay, fine, my cube is now rhombus kind of thing, or maybe something else, but not far from its original shape, or maybe something else. Okay, but you can see you will have a finite way you can actually think of its a state. So this is your state 1, state 2, state 3. You will have a finite uh, set of states in solids. Okay, so those finite sets of states actually will tell you about the probability of finding those molecules in some sense. So we call this p. So there are p numbers of ways the state can be found for the solid. But so again, so entropy is in some sense it is proportional to this particular p thing. Okay, so scientists may have come up with some formula based on their experiments or observations, but in loose sense this entropy is directly proportional to the uh, thermodynamic probability, or the states in which you can find it, the number of states, rather number of states. Obviously for solids you may find close to maybe 30 states. For maybe I'm just making some figure, some lower states, lower number of probabilities are there. So it will have not more configuration, but for liquids they may have more configuration. It will go to 300 states. For gases it will have, I mean, 10 to the power 30. I don't know, maybe very large states you can think of. So for gases they have much more entropies because these numbers goes high. Again, with observations they have found out that the entropy can actually be since you unit wise, since this is a pure number, and entropy we are going to define in terms of joule per Kelvin or something. So they have deduced that it may this proportionality constant they come up with, it was Boltzmann constant, LNP. That's all. Okay, so maybe that just have I given some answer? Okay, so this is the way statistical thermodynamics works. So we are not going to go into the details of what entropy is all about, but yes, we can, in the loose sense, we can actually think of some number of possible states the solids can have, or liquids have, and gases, and then we can directly relate it to some measurable quantity that we call entropy. Okay, so okay, so this was, so let's move into the classical way of understanding the um, entropy. So we in the last class I also told that there is something called quality. So where does this the notion of this entropy comes from? Let me put the thing in that perspective. Entropy, the notion of entropy comes from the quality of energy. How? Let me put you in this particular way. So let's suppose there is a hot body at 80 degrees C, and it loses some let's suppose 10 joules of energy to the cold body at 20 degrees C. Okay, so people were, so this was a spontaneous process that goes from left to right. So always it happens from hot body to cold body. Okay, so people were thinking there is some kind of measurable quantity we can think of through which we can actually characterize this particular phenomenon that is happening from left towards right. So that measurable quantity people have thought in terms of quality. Okay, so quality means the quality of energy here was of higher quality. Okay, and quality of energy was lower here in some sense, lower quality. Okay, to be more precise, if we talk in terms of quantitative sense, it means what exactly it is. So people have thought that, okay, let's what is the amount of energy that has been transferred, that is 10 joule. So what they did, they divided this 10 joule divided by the temperature of this body. So let's suppose in absolute sense, obviously they have divided, but loose sense, I can right away put it like this. So T hot. Okay, and then they call this quantity in some sense, some loose sense. I'm not formally defining entropy right now. In loose sense, they have defined that Q by T. So the amount of energy that has been transferred and the temperature it possesses. In some loose sense, they call this term as entropy.
Sir,
Okay.
Q reversible.
Huh? What?
Sir, Q reversible upon T.
Exactly. I'll come on to that. I'll come on to that. That is reversible again. But for loose sense, right now I'm talking about. Let me put that in perspective. Let's suppose how I'm talking about the measurable quantity or the higher quality of energy went into the lower quality. So let's divide this 10 divided by 80 in loose sense, not absolute. I'm talking about. So you will come upon some number. Can you tell me some number? What is 8 divided by 1 divided by 8? Can somebody quickly tell?
0.125.
0.125. Okay, something like this. Okay, now the quality, let's check the quality of the same energy that is now contained in this body. So this quality here, again, let's suppose this is my Q1 and T1 and Q by T2, Q2 by T2. So Q2 is again same, so 10 by 20. Now this is my 0.5. Okay, so you can see so this quantity was actually, this quantity is actually has increased. Whatever the quantity we have chosen, that has been increased. So we have loosely we have talked about entropy. Okay, we have not defined properly. Yes, entropy, we can see if we, at all we define Q by T, some quantity that is Q by T, and we can see that this quantity actually has been increased while doing this process. Okay, or if we can, in some loose sense, 1 upon entropy, if we so say that, then if we talk this in terms of quality, then quality, obviously this is 8 upon 1 and this is 2 upon 1. The quality has been decreased. So since beginning I am telling that the process happens towards decreasing quality or increasing entropy. Obviously I have not put the formula in proper perspective, but in loose sense I have talked about entropy. Okay, and that is how the notion of entropy or the notion of quality of energy has been put forward. Okay, and this figure here also detects that during the heat transfer process the net entropy increases, obviously. Okay, one more thing I want to put. So overall, this is basically something is going out. So this is something minus of something, and this is coming in. So this is plus. So the overall entropy, if we talk about, so obviously this 0.5 minus 0.125. So the overall entropy of the universe is actually positive. So this is how the things works. So the process will happen in the direction where the overall entropy of the universe increases. Although locally the entropy has been decreased in this particular hot body locally, and it can happen in a system locally. Yes, entropy may decrease, But as a holistic sense, if we talk about whole universe, the entropy must be increasing. If at all, if it is a reversible process, the entropy of the overall universe may be constant. The delta S may be constant because of the reversibility in the of the nature. But if it the since reversible processes are not occurring in nature, so overall entropy of the universe increases. So I'll talk slightly a bit of sideline towards this particular course. That is, I was coming across some article in which they have talked about that our life is again dictated by entropy. Okay, our life is in some loose sense also, our life is also kind of works as what entropy does, because you may seem that your life was good, like some when you are kid, and in some loose sense, I'm not talking about philosophy, but yeah, there are some researchers that yes, when you were kid, your life was awesome, but when you grown up and you think that things are not in order, okay, things have been chaotic, and that is also not in your hands, right? And you may come across some incidents, and it makes your life miserable or something, and yes, it all dictates. I mean, the universe works like this. We are always towards disorderness. Okay, you whatever you do, you can actually locally you can make your life okay, but yes, in broad sense, everything goes under disorderness. That is how the things works. Okay, let that things put aside. Let me give you some characteristic about this entropy. The quantity of energy is always preserved during an actual process. The first law, obviously, we have seen that the 10 kilojoule, so or the 10 joules of energy, that is actually conserved from here. It has been conserved towards this place, but the quality is bound to decrease, and that is and from this is also a kind of second law, and that is through that notion we actually come across with this entropy thing. Okay, so even though you have energy being conserved, but the quality is bound to decrease. So whenever your parents, so whenever you are not at home, your parents will tell that okay, switch off the lights, switch off the fans, and you should conserve the energy, right? All the times you will see the word conserve the energy. So your parents are telling kind of lie to you. Actually, the conservation of energy is there everywhere. So there is no there is a misnomer that you are not, by switching off the lights or fans, you are not conserving the energy, because the energy conservation is always there. Okay, if you are not switching the fan, the energy is conserved. But the problem is, while switching off the fan or on the light all the time, you are actually decreasing, you are not conserving the quality. Actually, the quality of energy keeps on decreasing whatever you do. Okay, no matter what you do. So in some sense, conservation of energy is everywhere there, but everything is dictated by the quality rather than the quantity. Quantity is obviously conserved. There is no doubt about it. Okay. Okay, the next thing is this decrease in quality is always accompanied by an increase in entropy, which we have seen, and there is no entropy transfer associated with the energy transfer as work. Okay, this is a good thing. Uh, yes, this will maybe motivate you. So this work is so uh, so so powerful thing. This work does not associate with entropy entropy. So whenever there is a work that is happening, so it doesn't associate with the entropy change or entropy increase. Okay, so this is, we will put We'll make a comment, and we'll also look into our subsequent slides that how work is not actually associated with the entropy increase, but other forms of energies are actually associated with the entropy increase. We have seen the heat, the form of energy, heat is actually associated with the increase in entropy. Whatever way it is going, you are going to increase the entropy. But work is kind of organized form of energy, and this does not associate with the entropy increase. Okay, with this, I want to again put a third law to you guys, third law of thermodynamics. The third law of thermodynamics is stated as the entropy of a pure crystalline substance at absolute zero temperature is zero. Okay, since there is no uncertainty about the state of molecules at that instant. So what you do, so we have seen that in solid, the entropy is less, liquids are high and gases are more high. But whatever, if we try to decrease the temperature till the absolute temperature, so at that absolute temperature, 0 degrees C, your entropy becomes zero. Why? The molecules are so obvious at that particular time that your crystal is so stiff that there is no movement of these molecules, and you are so sure that you will find your molecules at that particular place. So there is no entropy. You can actually find the molecules at that particular place if you want. Okay, in some loose sense. So yes, this is how. But obviously, this is an ideal case. We cannot achieve that. But yes, hypothetically, we can have a 0 Kelvin temperature, and that 0 Kelvin temperature, the entropy ceases to exist. So there is no entropy at absolute zero, and this is the third law of thermodynamics is stated. Okay, and there is something called absolute entropy, and whatever the entropy that we define at T is equal to 0, after that on or above that, whatever thing I am going to calculate the entropy as compared to this particular scale, we are going to tell this is my absolute entropy of the substance. Okay, one thing also I want to state that we have seen, or we have analyzed our thermodynamic analysis as or the first law of thermodynamics. We always talked about energy, not energy, actually the change in energy. We were not, okay, the change word was powerful here. We were not looking at the absolute form of energy, right? But and here also in the entropy chapter, we are more concerned about change in entropy rather than absolute form of energy. Okay, so this will keep in mind. So everywhere in this particular course, in thermodynamics course, we are more concerned about the changes in the energy, or the change in the entropy of the system, and so. Okay. Okay, with this, we can actually now move into, since we have the notion of entropy now, the Clausius has given, based on their observation and research, the Clausius has made some statement that the ratio of the quantity of heat transfer, the heat flow over the temperature over a cycle. So in cyclic processes, let's suppose I'm going from 1 to 2, and I'm also coming from 2 to 1 again. In this process, in this cyclic process, if some heat transfer has been occurred, let's suppose this is my system. So this is my system. and the boundary temperature is at temperature T, this T temperature, absolute sense, absolute temperature, and there is some heat transfer that is occurring Q. Let's suppose Q1 has occurred, and after some in 2 to 1, some Q has been released. Some, let's suppose Q2, okay, at this particular temperature. So when we sum this up, so let's suppose this was my differential. Small amount of heat has been transferred to the system or those things. So when we sum up these things and we integrate it, okay, so this quantity, so this quantity basically he showed that this quantity was always less than 0. This quantity was negative, and this actually is the basis to actually formulate the formal definition of entropy. In the next slides we will talk about, and this is how he has observed, okay, the cyclic integral of dq by t, okay, dq by t is always less than or equal to 0. This is he found out, and this inequality is valid for all cycles, no matter if your process is reversible or reversible. No matter what you do, you will always get these sums, all those sums. Let's suppose I'm going from 1 to 2, 2 to 3, 4, 5, and coming again to the same place 1, and all these processes, maybe it may be reversible, this may be irreversible, again reversible, all sorts of processes are happening. And let's suppose it occurred with Q1, Q2, all sorts of things, and with some bounded temperature T it is happening. So when he did this ratios, and he summed up all those quantities dq by t's, and then he found that all the sums were less than or equal to 0, and the equality holds. Equality holds for internal reversible processes. And okay, and this is, we have already told that, okay, so the equality holds for this particular Clausius inequality, and this is called Clausius inequality. This is very crucial for understanding entropy. Okay, and this equality was holds true or holds equal to exactly 0 when your process was internal reversible. The equality of Clausius inequality holds for total or just internally reversible cycles, and the inequality for the irreversible ones. So, and this quantity actually, who told initially, and this quantity was later proposed by Clausius, that this quantity will tell this is my ds, or since this thing is in differential form, so you can better tell that, or if it is in cycle, or if it is going from 1 to 2, we can actually tell that S2 minus S1, and then we can tell that this is this quantity ds, change in entropy we can say. And change in entropy for internal reversible processes are actually 0. We have told that initially. Okay, so formally the entropy is defined as ds, the differential quantity of ds is defined as the differential heat transfer upon the temperature of the boundary with internal reversible processes, if at all it is happening. Then we call this as a differential change in entropy. And this entropy, the unit of this entropy is joule per Kelvin. This you need to obviously remember, or you have to keep in mind. Okay, and when this is for any process. If we go from 1 to 2, let's suppose I'm going from 1 to 2, let's suppose this way, then we can actually think of the heat transfer that is occurring from the boundary to the system, or from the system to surrounding, divided by the temperature of the boundary with internal reversible process. From 1 to 2, if I'm going, so this S2 minus S1 will give you the change in entropy of the system. Okay, and just to have a key point, When I'm going from 1 to 2, it is, let's suppose this is irreversible process, and I'm going from reversible process 1 to 2. Uh, the two specified states, the entropies will be same. Okay, because these things are, it doesn't matter whether the process is reversible or irreversible, the changes between two specified state is same, like your internal energies. Okay, it's not like work, it depends upon the state where you are. Okay, so these two, whenever we're going from here to here, you will get at the same place. It's like you were talking about internal energy. So essentially this entropy is an extensive property. Right, and again this is the total entropy, and we can actually think of mass basis small l s as s by m, and whose unit could be joule per kg Kelvin, we can think of. Okay, this is your mass basis entropy. Okay, one special case we'll take up, and we'll take one numerical quickly. The internal reversible isothermal heat transfer, if at all your system is undergoing internally reversible, this is what I have told, and isothermal heat transfer. It means isothermal means your temperature is constant. Okay, then we can write from 1 to 2 it is happening. Then this T is nothing but the constant temperature that I am talking about. Then we can put this thing out from the differential, and we can actually put this forward. So change in entropy can be thought of the heat transfer divided by the temperature, which by I'm talking about the isothermal process is happening. Okay, this is the straightforward thing, Q by T, T naught. We can think of one quick example, and in the next class we can talk about the entropy generations and all sorts of things. Probably this is the last slide for this class. A piston cylinder device contains a liquid vapor mixture of water at 300 Kelvin. During a constant pressure process, 750 kilojoules of heat is transferred to the water. Okay, as a result, part of liquid in cylinder vaporizes. Okay, determine the entropy change of water during the process. Can somebody quickly tell? So this is easy. Okay. Who will tell? Somebody tell me. Jugal Acharya, Karma Patel. Am I calling same names all the time because those are my favorite names? Parth Patil. Nobody is there.
Yes, sir.
Parth, can you tell me how can we proceed this problem? I want to know the entropy change that is happening. And this is my system. Okay, I'm transferring heat to the system, and this much amount of heat I have transferred at this temperature. And why this temperature is constant? Can somebody tell me? Because it's a
It's a isothermal process.
Why? Because there is a phase change on it that is happening, right? So that is why this is isothermal process. So temperature will not change in the phase change thing, right? Because liquid in the cylinder is vaporizing, so it's a phase change thing. Tell me. So this is straightforward. Q in what is happening and divided by whatever constant temperature you have. So this is the entropy change that this system would see.
750 by 300.
Yes, this is straightforward. 750 kilojoules divided by temperature. That is 300 Kelvin. So if this is in degrees C, you need to change it into Kelvin. Because okay, I didn't tell you. So this particular formula is valid for absolute temperature.
Okay, sir.
Okay, please keep in mind. Okay, always. This is straightforward. So this how much? Can somebody tell me?
Sir, wait.
Hmm?
Wait.
Hmm.
Sir, 2.5
2.5 what?
kilojoules per
Joules,
kg.
kilojoules. Okay. So 2500 joules. So this much of entropy has been changed.
Sir, joules per Kelvin.
Well, right. Thank you. Joules per Kelvin. Thank you. Very nice. So this much amount of entropy has been changed of this system. Okay. Anyways, we can end this class, and we have lot to learn, lot of things to learn in this particular, and this chapter is so philosophical that sometimes we need to relate it with our life and universe. So this is so whenever you talk to your any physicist friend, they will talk about entropy, life, and all sorts of things. Actually, they are more close. So your life and your entropy and all these things are very close. Okay. Anyways, we need to stick with our thermodynamics curriculum. So we will not be more philosophical in some sense. Okay.
Sir,
Fine. Huh.
yes, sir. Sir, I have one suggestion to make.
Huh, huh.
Sir, can you share 5 questions in a week in which you have done the handwritten solution? Means
Huh.
of various different topics, means the questions that haven't been discussed in the class. Some
Okay.
different question, but sir, your handwritten solution so that it is easy for us to understand the topic, sir.
Okay. So okay. Yes. Thank you for pointing that out. So in general, my general trend is whenever I'm teaching, I take some numerical in between. So I don't have, so I didn't take any numerical example at the end of the last chapter. So what I can do, yes, I can take up one tutorial class as a whole. You are talking in that sense?
So not actually that way, sir. It means something type of self revision, sir. You can, sir, for example, you can take 5 different question of different topics, and you can share the PDF of it. So with solution, solution, so that we can study those questions, sir. Right now, what we are facing is that, sir, we do not have proper books on. Sir, learning from online book, it is very difficult as because we need to search for the page every now and then.
Okay. So are you guys following Senjal or not? Because Senjal is like your.
Sir, we are following that, but sir, it is difficult to read a PDF file, sir, continuously
Yes,
after attending classes for
Sir,
6 hours
Last time
on the screen.
Last time in thermodynamics, we used to get the tutorial PPTs. In the tutorial PPTs, we get 10 sums, and in other 10 sums would have solutions. So we need this type of PPT so
Sir,
that we
it
can.
is not necessary that you prepare a PPT. You can share handwritten solutions in form of PDF or a PPT. That is
Fine.
also with us.
Fine. So different topic means whatever topic I've covered now.
Sir, for example, today as we discussed about entropy, so you can cover 2 to 3 questions of this entropy chapter, but not those that we have discussed in class. Some other questions.
Okay. I got it. Fine. I'll do that. So every class you want me to do, or every chapter end, or
Sir,
in between somewhere?
as per your convenience, sir.
Sir, just
Chapter
Two
will also
after
do
every
at the
lecture.
end of chapter.
2 questions after every lecture.
Okay, sure. So I'll not discuss that. I will put that in the file, and you guys will understand that. Okay, fine.
But please ensure that the solution is detailed one, sir.
Solution should be given by me. Okay, properly.
Yes, sir. Detailed solution, because
Detailed solution, so that you guys can actually relate things. So how to solve a particular question. Okay. Got
yes,
it.
sir. Yes.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Fine. So let me take the attendance.
Statistical thermodynamics without fully understanding classical thermodynamics.
So classical thermodynamics, so statistical is kind of related to statistics, means on some what I told, microscopic study. So what all the molecules as a whole, what they are doing, their properties, what you are looking at the microscopic level. So those things we are not going to do, but the actual understanding should initiate from microscopic level, and then only you will see it at macroscopic level. And in classical thermodynamics, we only deal with the microscopic scale properties, and that is what we need, because for to design a device, we just need things to be working in some macroscopic sense. Not we should not care about what's happening microscopically, right? And so these
I am asking like general question only that if one want to learn statistical thermodynamics, so it is necessary to learn classical thermodynamics completely first to start statistical thermodynamics to study.
No. You can actually start with statistical thermodynamics if you have hobby, or if you are more interested in. So rather I'll tell you, in MS in the science background guys are not are more studied towards the classical the statistical thermodynamics, because they should more be focused towards the physics of the problem, like that is being coming from the microscopic level. So we as an engineer should not care, but yes, you can actually side by side you can learn, or it's not necessary that you should know the classical thermodynamics. Yes.
Okay, so sir, we can say they are quite independent.
Quite
they are not related.
Yes, quite independent. But in advanced courses, in engineering institutes, as an advanced course, they teach statistical thermodynamics in your masters or in your advanced courses. But this classical thermodynamics could be the basic thing. First, you should go as an engineer. We should go. But obviously that is independent. Classical thermodynamics is the statistical thermodynamics is actually kind of independent. Okay.